Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, buongiorno, buonasera, dzień dobry, dobry wieczór, kakela, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. The Brighton Sisters case, or the Brighton ladies case. I'm not convinced they are sisters at the moment, but let's call it the Brighton ladies case. The inquest is tomorrow. So all eyes will be on that. I hope there's a live update from reporters that are there to track everything that is said in the inquest. If I were to make a prediction, I would say it will be adjourned because my gut feeling is there is an enormous amount to investigate in this case. It may be that some witness statements will be made regarding how the three ladies died, cause of death. Um, but as far as identification goes, which is, I guess, job number one of the coroner, I would suspect that coroner and staff need a lot more time with help from police investigators to ascertain exactly who these three ladies are. Now, if I've got that wrong, and this coronial process tomorrow, this inquest is all wrapped up no problem whatsoever, then I will be, I mean, this will be Jay Slater 2.0. It'll be another official process that looks to just placate everyone involved, family, media, police, etc., and let's move on. But if the coroner in Sussex does his job tomorrow, then this will be adjourned at least, or just referred to police investigators before anything can be decided upon. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. Background, chosen background of the day. As you can see, I have gone to Soji Aditoro's Facebook page. Soji, of course, is apparently, you've got to say apparently, with everything you mentioned to do with this family, because nothing's very clear at all. Soji, or Ade Soji Aditoro, goes by both names, I believe, um, is the brother of the father of the three ladies we've been told. So the uncle, he's the uncle. Interesting, actually, in Nigerian names, if you get that ade as a prefix, it comes from, as far as I understand it, a word meaning royal. It indicates some kind of, status, crown, even. So people going around with ade at the beginning of their name, yeah, it holds a certain status in Nigeria, I've been told. Anyway, just to let you know that when he goes by Ade Soji Ade Toro, he's got two kind of royal implications there. But is he royal? Is he kingly? I don't know. What do you make of this Soji Ade Toro guy? Well, he's in charge of the GoFundMe. Um, and what I'm going to alert you to here in this piece that he throws out there on Facebook is that he could well be, and Soji, if I'm wrong about this, if I've got this totally wrong, I invite you to join me on a live or call me and we can record it and put it out there. Maybe a Zoom call would do, unedited, and you defend yourself. You tell me where I've got this exactly wrong. But I smell scamster with Soji. I really do. Not because he's in charge of the GoFundMe, but it would make sense that if you had a particularly artful scammer in the family, that person would be in charge of a GoFundMe. That's not the reason why I think Soji might be into scamming here. It's because of this whole thing, this Facebook page about the NIN. If I get my fat head out of the way, you can see from where I've cut it off here. It says NIN, National Identification Number. Nigerians need an NIN, National Identification Number. Now, why do you think I think that's something scammy? Well, I'll get into it. First of all, I might as well read out what Soji himself says here. So I'm on very safe ground if I read out what Soji has written here, because these are his words, not mine. And what Soji is advertising are his services regarding Nigerians getting an NIN, a national identification number. So this is what Soji says in his Facebook post, and there's more than one post, so he's fairly, and it's recent, 2024. So I guess he's still doing this, and there's three or four different posts. So he's pushing his services here, and I guess you pay. I don't know, Soji. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're not doing this as a kindness of your heart gesture. I don't think. But anyway, he says it's right here. Are you a Nigerian residing in the Essex locality? Do you know anyone traveling to Nigeria? Do you need a NIN, National Identification Number, before you travel to Nigeria? I can help with this process. Please help share this with your family and friends who might need assistance too. So, from his announcement there, it really does seem as if Soji is doing all that he can to try to equip his fellow Nigerians with what they need for when they are in Nigeria with their national identification number. And he hints there that it might be something you need to travel. Now, why do I think this is a scam? I will tell you why I think this is a scam. The reason I think this is a scam is because the National Identity Management Commission in Nigeria says it's a fraud. And in fact, what I will do is put a link to their page where they say this is a fraud. They don't say directly that what Soji is doing a fraud. They say that what Soji is doing is typical of fraud. So let me spell that out there. And on their page, National Identity Management Commission, it says fraud alert. Yeah, this is the first thing you come to when you go to the National Identity Management Commission page, their website in Nigeria, fraud alert. The NIN is free. Yeah. Do not pay anyone to obtain your NIN. It's free. So, Soji, they're saying, Soji, do not pay Soji to obtain your NIN. It's free. They go on, beware of fake social media accounts, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter. First one they mention is good old Facebook. Posing as official NIN or fan pages, asking you to make payments to them to get your NIN. Your data could be acquired and used for criminal activity. Yeah, you bet. I mean, this is common sense to most of us, I think. You don't just give someone advertising on Facebook all of your personal details, that information that could be used for 101 purposes, in the belief that this good-hearted person will just get your national identification number for you. You don't do that. But I guess some people do. This is how fraud operates. And of course, the rewards are enormous. I'm just saying, if out of 10 people, yeah, you manage to get all of the details for one person, you've basically created a whole new identity, if you wish, for that person. You may go ahead and get them their NIN, national identity number, but you may also use the data and the information they gave you for nefarious purposes. I mean, I'm sorry to generalize here, but we are talking about Nigerians. And, ask yourself, when was the last time you ever heard of a Nigerian involved in any kind of money or identity fraud? When was it? Well, to be honest, if I checked junk mail right now, I'd probably say in the last 5 minutes. I mean, as a stereotype, the nation of Nigeria is known for this kind of fraud. I said it. I mean, if you want to contest that, go ahead. Sorry, going back to the National Identity Management Commission's fraud alert, they say you have to enroll and collect your card when it is ready yourself. In other words, there's nothing that Soji and the likes of Soji can do to actually enroll you. That's something you have to do yourself, it says, and you have to collect it yourself. So Soji can't call his friend in Abuja or Lagos to say, go pick this up. You have to do it. Now, I guess that's why he's saying in his blurb here, he does say, doesn't he? Do you know anyone traveling to Nigeria? Meaning you have to have a person in Nigeria to actually collect this number or card. He does say that. But I think the point is, to me, Soji's putting himself in a position here where if you say, yeah, I'm in Essex and I don't have this number and I really need it, can you help me? Soji then gets all of your personal details in order to pretend or actually go ahead and try to help you with this process. And lo and behold, with that information, he could do 101 things that create the identity of another person. This is how it works. I mean, if you want to look up exactly what identity fraud is, and I will say it, I do think at the heart of the three Brighton ladies' case is identity fraud. I'll just come out and say it now. Um, and I'll go into a bit of detail in that and just about that in just a second. Sorry, where are my notes here on identity fraud or identity theft? Identity theft occurs when someone steals another person's personal information and credentials to commit fraud. I think, that's just my opinion, Soji. I think this is what's going on here. But as I say, happy for you to refute every word of it. Yeah? In another post, Soji says, your national ID, my priority. On that one, I believe him. I think he's telling the truth there. I think it is Soji's priority, your national ID, because with your national ID, Soji can do a lot of other things. So I think he's telling the truth there. That is indeed his priority, I would think. So where am I going with this? If I'm right, that Soji is one of those that can create a whole new identity, which effectively is a whole new person. Once you have a person's personal information, you know, birth certificate details, passport details, banking details, and what have you, once you have all that, you've essentially created a new person. You don't have the physical appearance of the person. You don't need that in order to commit fraud. All you need is their details to make them appear on paper as if they are real. And this is why I will be intrigued tomorrow in the inquest how the police in Sussex actually identified those three ladies. My suspicion is, and it took them a week to do this, I think. As far as I understand it, they found the three ladies, and it took them 1 week to announce the names, to name these three. That's a long time to identify three people. And I'm just wondering if the police are still very hesitant about this. Like they put the names out there, but there's something about the case that bothers them about who the three ladies actually are. So the theory I'm putting out there is that, well, actually, let's step back here. We've got to say these three ladies could be, they could be the three daughters of Joseph Aditoro. They could be. But it is just unbelievable that not one of these three ladies has a physical appearance in any photo, pic, video, anything since they were wee babbies or little girls. That is just unbelievable. The very fact the family had to put out an AI creation to convince the world these three ladies actually exist in their family tells me there's some kind of fraud or scam going on here. Without being able to put my finger on the exact nature of it, it's like, so if you can't produce a photo of them, then they're not part of your family. Then who are they? That's the question here. Who are these three ladies? They may well have the complete identification of Jane Aditoro, but it doesn't mean that's who they are. It may be that one of them has the complete identity profile of someone called Rebecca Walters. It doesn't mean that's Rebecca Walters. What I'm saying is the original and genuine Jane Aditoro and Christina Walters and Rebecca Walters could be alive and well and living in the USA, just like their fourth sister Lillian is. Yeah, Lillian, who disappeared in Luton, reappeared in Texas. Could be exactly the same story as that. They could be alive and well in Nigeria. I mean, you have to weigh up all options here. It could be that they don't live anywhere. It could be that they died, but their identity has been continued, if you like. I mean, sad to say, it's possible. You know, if you want to paint a grim picture, it's possible that Joseph's three kids, three little girls, they died. I don't know, car accident in Nigeria, but their identity has remained, used for nefarious purposes. But it could be, like I said, that these three girls do exist, and that is their name, that is their identity. They are who the police have said they are. That could be they are the daughters of Joseph Aditoro. And it just happens to be that over the last 20 years, not one single picture has emerged of them. You see, I think the problem here is that if if the Aditoro family were to put out an adult photograph, picture of, let's say, Jane Aditoro, the so-called accountant, the problem here is the public would recognize that picture and say, I know that person, works in my office. She ain't called Jane Aditoro. She ain't Nigerian. That's the problem here. I'll say it again. I think the heart of the problem for the family, and by the way, the family should be extremely worried by now, because even if the family have told 100% the truth, there's a lot more explaining they will still have to do to convince people that what they are telling us is the case is exactly the case. If I'm right that this is some very elaborate scam that's gone horribly wrong, I would suggest to some of the family that are not directly involved that they should come clean and say, hey, I'm not involved with this. Yeah, I agree there's something going on, but it's not me. Otherwise, things could get very, very ugly for a lot of people. I'm just speculating. It's just my opinion. That's what I see. Happy for any of the Aditoros to, talk with me and convince me otherwise. But yeah, the heart of the problem here is if a recent photo were to be produced with Joseph Aditoro or Soji Aditoro or Genevieve Barnaby Aditoro saying, this is Jane 2 years ago. Here we are celebrating her birthday, celebrating Christmas with all three of them. If that were produced, the problem is, I think someone in the general public would say, I know that person. And it's not Jane Aditoro. This is how identity fraud works. The person exists on paper, but produce the actual person that matches in real life that identity you've created, and you're on thin ice. I'll do another video where I think the so-called mother of the three, Janice Aditoro, is also a scam and a fraud, in my opinion, allegedly. What I suspect here is this has been done before successfully. I just have a feeling that the TikToker Voice of Voices, I think he or she is called, is right, because Voice of Voices has gone out there and said, the ages match and there's no information on this Janice Aditoro that died apparently in a lake in Birmingham. I would suggest that that person, that TikToker is right, that this kind of drowning scam has been pulled off before by this family and it worked. But that Dr. Genevieve Barnaby Aditoro, I've got a feeling is probably one and the same person and is the mother of, I don't know, those three little babies that then disappear from visual history. So I'm going to leave it there because there's so much to go into in this case. But for now, all I'm saying is if you go to Soji Aditoro's Facebook page and you see this, I can help you get your national identification number, trust me, just send me all your personal details and I'll do what I can do. You have to go to Nigeria to pick it up, but and the enrollment process is free, and I shouldn't really be doing this anyway. But out of the kindness of my heart, I'll do it for you if I'm not too busy with the GoFundMe scam. Yeah, I think Soji is scammer in chief. I think. But tell me, Soji, if I've got that wrong. All right, I will end it there. More maybe later today or tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's the inquest day, so yeah, I'll probably not say anything more on this. Maybe one more today, but tomorrow I will be all ears trying to follow what's going on in Brighton. Let's leave it there. Hasta luego. Adios. Hasta la próxima. See you next time.